Yeah, I'm sorry. I could not help but just laugh at this headline. Trump threatens ex-rep Liz Cheney with execution by firing squad. No, he didn't. No. Holy crap. This is so far from being true. It makes me laugh. Donald Trump never in any way suggested Liz Cheney should have any harm upon her. Daily News and all these other outlets are losing their minds. Wow. Boy, they sure are desperate. When you pull up the national polling, Trump is up nationally 0.3. Battlegrounds have Trump up 0.9. But, the other day I was talking with Sam Cedar, and he made some good points, and I agree with him on a lot. He said that pollsters could have overcorrected, and now it's looking like it's favorable. Trump, we have no idea. Nobody knows. And I asked him, what do you think if Trump wins the popular vote? What do you think that would mean? And he said that more people voted for Trump. I said, I don't think you don't think that's representative of any kind of like ideological shift. And he said, no, I disagree. I actually think that if Trump wins the popular vote, it shows that there is a shift in the minds of many Americans. And that does represent ideologically what is going on. So my friends, go and vote, because look at this news story. Let me show you the lies. First, Fox News says Trump criticism of Liz Cheney as radical war hawk framed as call for violence by irresponsible media. Why? Trump said she's out there promoting war. She wants to send our men and women in uniform overseas. How would she feel if those weapons out there were pointed at her, right? She needs to stop promoting this stuff. Oh, he's making the point that the warmongers, if they had to actually go and fight the wars themselves, would in 2 seconds say no war. Does the Daily News mention that? Nope. Here's what they write. Former President Trump is threatening ex-rep Liz Cheney with execution, sparking a new round of angry recriminations in the home stretch of the White House campaign. With just a few days before the election, a Republican presidential nominee told right-wing media host Tucker Carlson that Cheney deserves to face death by firing squad. Literally never happened. Wow. Cheney, who then crossed the political... Notice how they don't quote Trump. They never actually show what Trump said. This is how dictators destroy free nations, Cheney tweeted. We cannot entrust our country and our freedom to a petty, vindictive, cruel, unstable man who wants to be a tyrant. The Trump campaign claimed Friday that the former president was only suggesting that Cheney should not promote foreign wars when she would not face combat in them. Yeah, that's literally the quote. She appeared alongside Harris at the birthplace of the Republican Party. Blah, blah, blah. Trump derides Cheney as the prototypical hawkish Republican, blaming her for plunging the U.S. into foreign conflicts like the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and risking a wider global conflict with Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. The daughter of conservative Dick Cheney, she was once a rising Republican star in Congress. Yep. And then she said, but I want war in Iraq. All right. Here's CNN. Trump says war hawk Liz Cheney should be fired upon in escalation of violent rhetoric against his opponents. No, he didn't. Yo, this is fascinating stuff. Do they have the clip here?
All right, let's talk a little bit about something that is getting a lot of attention this morning, and that is something that was said last night. Donald Trump was at an event in Arizona. Tucker Carlson was moderating. And at one point, the conversation turned to one of Mr. Trump's fiercest critics, who is Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney, of course, involved in the January 6th investigation and whatnot. And she has steadfastly supported Kamala Harris this campaign cycle.
So he was just talking about how she is a war hawk, and would she have the same point of view if she was actually at war? And he says this: she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her. Let's see how she feels about it when the guns are trained on her. They're all on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops into the mouths of the enemies. She's always wanted to go to war with people. I don't blame.
Oh, we just lost it. I didn't realize that was more, but the point is clear. She's a radical war hawk. He goes on to say, I don't blame him for sticking with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual. Very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with the rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it, you know? When the guns are trained on her face, these people, blah, 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 in Washington, Trump probably could have spoken more cleanly, but we know what he's saying. He says, wow, I'm so shocked. Propagandists group are cut it off before the line. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops into the mouths of the enemies. Trump is saying if she had to face the combat herself, she would never support this. And this is what they do. This is, you know what, man? This is what they do. These are the lies and the manipulations, and they're doing it because they want to win political power, and they're nuts. Look, I see craziness. I see shenanigans, manipulations, and lies, and this country is shifting. We are now looking at a rise of an independent media. Young people in this country are polarized, left or right. If you're not paying attention, you might think that you hold the absolute truth in your hands, but here's the reality. People on the right tend to still get some of their news from the left. They still see what people on the left are saying. And as often as I criticize people on the right for saying things like stop trying to sit down with these people, it is that very nature which makes sure that people on the right are better informed than the left. Now, certainly there are things we can get factually wrong. That's fine. Or there's exaggerations and otherwise. But people on the right tend to know what the left is thinking, and the left tends to have no idea what the right is thinking. And I'll throw it back to that conversation I was having with Sam the other day, a few good examples. Talking about Daniel Penny. And he says things like, oh, Penny did this, Penny did that, and blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, whatever. And then I'm trying to understand him because there was a story in Philadelphia where a woman was raped on a train and no one did anything. And, you know, understand this, you know, for those that are asking, because I'll probably have addressed a lot of this already, but I'll bring it up now anyway. I want you to see that there is no reason at all. Daniel Penny was facing a threat, so he took action. People on a subway train watching a rape take place were also facing a threat and did nothing. Pick your poison. Now, I think it's fair to say that if there's a fight in a subway train and someone pushes someone else and they leave, it's never going to be in the news. It's not sensational. But that's the point. I ask him this because I'm like, when do you intervene? How do you know? He doesn't. He doesn't know. The reason I bring this up is that he didn't even know the story happened. He says, I don't know anything about it. Fine. So then he goes on to call me incurious for not citing the specific 85% Social Security number when Social Security becomes insolvent, which means only what goes in can come out. This is the nature of the left and the right today. The left is going to read this story and they're going to say, oh my God, Trump is threatening change. This is abject fake news. 3 days out, 4 days out, 3 days out from an election. Abject fake news. My friends, I was asked by Sam, who do I think is the bigger risk at starting a civil war? And, well, it's easily the right. No question. But that isn't to say that it's 100% or 90% or even 55%. Of course, that's what he's trying to go for. The left and the right both have their capabilities for violence. The right is substantially more rare, but substantially more devastating. And it's not an organized right either. But if there is going to be an escalation of conflict, I believe it would likely come from the right. That being said, the left will create low-tier conflicts and mass violence, and these people are oblivious to it. So when I get asked about the potential for civil war, I say, I don't know, if the far left firebombing the White House, firebombing St. John's Church, tearing down the barricades and attacking police. And Sam's like, huh? What are you talking about? They don't even know. So when you see this story, this is what's happening. Why will there be conflict? When you have the state, like the Democratic Party, the establishment machine, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, trying to lock up lawyers and politicians and government officials on the right because they can't win an election, that's what they're doing. You will end up with, well, what you could say is it the left that's sparking the violence, that's causing the instigation that leads to a person on the right fighting? Well, you can say it's the government. But in terms of the ground level, I think it is more likely we would see a right-wing response. With all that being said, the reality by which this occurs is slim, in my opinion. I don't know. But look what they're saying in the media. What do you think a leftist is going to believe when they see this and then Trump wins? This is lying and creating extremism to such a degree that I'm actually kind of worried. Now, I don't know what to expect. The election is coming up Tuesday. It's going to be wild, my friends. I strongly encourage you all to go and vote because Trump must win the popular vote so we can rebuke the left and tell them they're wrong. They'll never accept it, but some will. Many default liberals will say, I don't want to be on the losing side and not want to be on the wrong side of history. This will be, I heard some people say that it's the first time since Reagan when the Republican won a popular vote. But I guess Sam was saying that Bush actually won the popular vote in 2004 by demonizing gays. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. That seems not true. But if he did win the popular vote, he won the popular vote. Trump winning the popular vote will send a powerful message. We will not tolerate these lies and these manipulations. So, my friends, look at what they wrote about Donald Trump. And you know he never said that. Look at what CNN is writing. These people are insane liars. Trump's point is clear. If the people in Washington had to actually fight the wars they don't declare, entered into, they would say no. There was a ballot provision, I think it was an amendment provision in the early 1900s, that if there was going to be a war, everyone would have to vote, and anybody who votes yes would have to go fight in it. And hey, shut that one down quick, because that would mean we never fight a war again, because nobody will say, I want war and I enlist. Not going to happen. Don't get me wrong, some soldiers would. Most would not. I'm going to wrap it up there. We got more segments coming up today on this special weekend. Thanks so much for hanging out. Stick around. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see you on the next segment.